Eureka, I think I've got it. I've been sitting here. I've actually been looking up on YouTube, not YouTube, on Jiggler, about 1920s, 30s style bands. And apparently, like all the musicians back in those days made their money in dance halls and that. So, what I'm going to do is the story is going to be where these musicians get invited to play at the house, but one of the musicians can't turn up for whatever reason. So it's like, the manager said, don't worry, I'm going to bring someone and they'll meet you there. Just be there at this time, this night, yada, blah, blah, right? But at the same time, there's going to be like some gangster thing going on where one of the gangsters, maybe like they do a bank robbery or pull off some sort of heist, goes into hiding at the house. And he has to like, oh, are you the bass player? Are you the trumpet player? Are you the drummer? Are you the whatever? And he's like, oh yeah, 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 sort of thing. And then of course, he's going to get killed. So then they have to investigate his murder and figure out who killed him. And then it's going to turn out that there was this whole gangster thing, and it's going to be a whole Cluedo thing. But it opens the doors to do a whole pile of comedy, like slapstick comedy. I'm just going to need some really good, really good comedy writers to help me. I can make it silly in that, but yeah, and because I've been looking at what they wore in those days, so the meat like they'll have to grease and part their hair, and they'll have to wear like suits, and they'll have to. The musicians that are going to have to know how to play music from that era. The big band stuff. Although the big band stuff wasn't, it appears it wasn't really a thing in Europe. Although there there were bands that did that sort of stuff. It was mostly the British and Americans that did the big band thing for the. So I'm going to have to research European bands of the 20s and 30s, and what sort of music they were playing, and because that's kind of a little bit before Edith Piaf and all of that, right? So yeah, so it's going to require research, but when I get to Switzerland, obviously, when I'm around all the people that I need to be around, I'll be able to say to them, because this is why my musicians there need to be people in the know. So yeah, so that's the story. A gangster's going to go on the run and hide out at the house and pretend to be the fill-in for the musician that can't make it, and then he's going to get killed. And then they have to investigate, who killed their bandmate, and obviously they'll have to stay in the house, which is going to kind of be like a boarding house or hotel or something like that. And so they'll be there for a couple of days, all getting to know each other and rehearsing and doing the whole comedy slapstick thing, everyone getting to know the characters, and then on like the second or third night, the gangster will get killed. And then they have to figure out who did it. And, our friend, and then they'll find out, obviously, that he was a gangster in the end, but who killed him. And well, I mean, we kind of know why, but there'll be some haunted house stuff going on, so yeah, we can do so much with it, but it'll be black and white. So I'm going to have to like properly research 1920s, 1930s style European bands. But when I just briefly looked it up, it said that all the bands back in those days made their money at dance halls and doing private parties and that. Well, this is going to be a private party for someone rich and aristocratic and, whatever. So, but if you know Bioshock, just think of Bioshock, like, that kind of 1920s, 1930s style. So, but it's going to be slapstick and a whodunit, but with some ghosts and, you know, secret walls and all that sort of thing. So that's it. That's the premise. And obviously, I don't want to. I'm going to puff it up a little, but I don't want to puff it up too much because then the writers and, you know, the kids and that will have nothing to work on. So that's another skeleton that they can put the meat and bones on. Well, the meat, the muscle and skin on, so to speak. So, oh God, I'm getting so excited. It's like I can't stop. Can't stop thinking. I don't know what's happened, but between classical music and those mushroom vitamins that I'm taking, it has just blown my creative mind wide open. I must be releasing massive amounts of dimethyltryptamine, DMT, because it's like I'm out in the creation frequency. It's like I feel like I'm flying through space, and I'm just picking out all these ideas and weaving them into movie magic and entertainment magic. And I just, it's, oh, Lord, please, Father, I've been working so hard. Like, what more do I have to do? I went through all of this to prove that I was worthy of building my skull. How much do you want it? When you go through an ascension, God's like, okay, if this is what you want, if this is what your end goal is, how much do you want it? How much are you prepared to do? What are you prepared to go through? What are you prepared to sacrifice? How much do you want it? I sacrificed everything, including almost my life 4 times, and my health, and, you know, my body's riddled with scars, and I lost everyone, I lost all my possessions, I was homeless, you know, like I've sacrificed a lot. I've kept my legs closed. I'm a bride of Christ. I'm like the occult equivalent of a nun, because I wanted to preach as a Scorpio, as someone who, you know, before I fell in love with the idea of being a wife and mum, I got around. And then I met my first husband when I was 20, and I've slept with 2 men since I was 20. 3 husbands, but I've slept with 2 men, because one of them was in prison in New York. But prior to that, I sowed my wild oats. And when Martin left me for the pedo and groomer, and I said to my boys, I guess this means I get to start dating again at least. And they said, could you not, please? We don't want anyone touching you. We don't want anyone like perving at you and disrespecting you. And they were like, can you just keep away from men and keep it closed until you find the one? Well, I've spoken to 5 men in 10 years. And it works out to 1 man every 2 years, but, you know, I met them all kind of like in a little cluster. But yeah, I'm untouched. But what I said was, I said I will honour your request, and I have stuck to that. I'm untouched. They said, look, but don't touch. I've not been touched, not since my wedding day. And I wear my purity band to remind me that I'm staying pure for when I give myself to the man that I love, the man in the moon, the man I've been trying to find since I was little, the one that Grandmother Tree's leading me to. So, yeah, I took a vow of chastity, and I've kept it. So, anyway, so that's the storyline. Gangster's gonna go on the run, hide out at the house. He's going to have to, obviously he's going to have to know how to play an instrument, or make it so that he barely knows how to play an instrument. Maybe make him the drummer or something like that, where he's sort of just getting away with it, or he gets killed before they get to, I don't know, like I said, meat and bones. But yeah, he's going to pull off a heist, he's going to go on the run. He's going to end up dead. But who killed him? That's the thing. And why was he really killed? Because that's going to be the twist. Because, see, with like Mountain High, for example, and War Babies, and the Y Woman, you know, my little animated movie that's going to be like done in the style of Aha's Take on Me. The Y Woman, there's a lot of stuff that I've written that has a twist at the end that you don't see coming. So, you know, Who knows? But that's the gist of it. So there we go. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I get myself so excited. I just can't wait to get there. Come on, Lord, get me there. Oh, I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.